All right. Welcome, folks. It is going to be our Wednesday SITREP. It is, let's see, actually June 1st, which is insane. This year, we're halfway through it. This is absolutely crazy. But nonetheless, so I got an interesting thing today. I'm going to show you guys a couple little things that will, who knows? Let's just get into it. So hop on over here. Let me just show you the latest and greatest with Skyglass. Got my hands on the beta. This thing is insane because you can now sort by groups, and it goes well beyond that, which is really cool. I can actually go in without a lot of trouble and actually pull together every location. Say, for example, these are the R135s. I can actually go in here now and I can look at their last known location, and you can see where the R135s are operating in the world and which ones are up. But it's very interesting because it's a good data point for us, right? And then also, same thing with the Q4 drones and the Q9 drones. I can actually go in there and look at where these guys have been spying on us, which is really cool. Now, yesterday I had a awesome opportunity to hang out with Skyglass a little bit online and go through some of the new beta things. And I will tell you, we were able to track some of the massed aircraft. For example, Steven Spielberg. We could look anywhere he's been over the last 30 days. It was pretty cool. We can go beyond that, but we just looked at 30 days. Walmart. You can see the owner of Walmart over in Europe right now. It is pretty crazy, the amount of information that is out there. And this new beta for Skyglass is the searchability on this thing's insane. So here's a perfect example. These are Q4 drones, and it shows you everyone that's out there. This is not like ones that I've tagged. I just keyword search Q4 drones and off to the races it goes. And then I say I want to look at where these things have been. Notice there are quite a few rolling in and out of Italy. So 4 of them actually coming out of Italy. So it kind of gives you an idea where we keep our drones too. So pretty crazy. But yeah, there's just a ton of data in this thing. And so without further ado, let's hop on over to our watch list on our board and see what we've got going on. Now, I'm not going to go into watch list because I didn't have too much up other than a handful that we were looking at. You can see them here. Let's go into heavies just to kind of show you what's going on. Again, East Coast centric. I've got a really cool roll-up I'll have to show you of how they have been operating over the last month, and I'm really excited to share that with you. But this is a US-wise, not too much going on this morning. And then, of course, this is the last 12-hour tracks. This is Europe, and you can see a lot of stuff underway there. We've got stuff going everywhere from Middle East all the way up into England, and you can see over Turkey. Turkey's kind of starting to get a little bit more active than they have been in the past, as is Canada, as is Spain. Now, there is an active NATO exercise going on that could be part of it. But, all right, let's go over here to the air refuelers to just show you what's going on there as well. We continue to see a lot of activity over Constanta. That's that west side of the Black Sea. That is really the only port that's really holding out and shipping stuff, out of Ukraine. And so it looks like this is going to be a pretty big focus for us in the coming weeks as Russia kind of steps up efforts in Ukraine. So again, you can see a lot of air refueling going on there. If we get over here to, let me see, into the U.S., again, East Coast centric, but I'm going to show you kind of what's been going on. You'll see how this whole thing has just kind of transpired over the last 30 days. You can see really where all the activity has been, and it is pretty East Coast centric as we expected. So, but you can see a couple things up over Maine and a little more inland, not so much over the water right now. So, okay, there is that. Now, let's do this. I want to show you. What is my next one? Okay, let's take a look at this. I want to show you the tanker roll-up. These are the tracks over the last 30 days. Now, Skyglass sent this to me, which I thought was just a really interesting data point. You can see a lot of effort going on off the East Coast, all the way over to about central U.S. And then for the West Coast, things kind of just thin out. There's not a lot. Now, this is a 30-day track of air refueling. And then but again, it just kind of validates what we've been seeing. We knew they've been doing a lot of air refueling, East Coast centric wise for a while. There's been a lot of the heavies have been focused on the East Coast for a while. So now check this out. This is where it gets really interesting. These are your sub hunters. These are your P3s and P8s. And this is actually the global footprint. And so you can see in Europe the amount of traffic from our sub hunters. What I find interesting is that they're not over water. This is where it gets kind of and then here, out of Australia, you can see fully engaged down there. Again, coast to coast, not really over the water, which you would think. It's a sub hunter. Why wouldn't it be over the water? What are they looking for? They got tunnels. What is going on? But you can see it pretty compelling rolling out of Washington and Florida, Jacksonville. We knew Jacksonville Naval Air Station is a pretty big launch site. But again, right there behind me is Australia and a lot coming out of the UK. So very, very interesting data points. Now, here is the other thing too. I want to show you I went in and looked at the stuff that was going on in Uvalde. There's a lot of data out there where people are kind of speculating certain things based on aircraft. I went in and looked at it. I watched the time stamp. I watched everything going on in the area during that mass event. And I just want to show you, first of all, this is the aircraft that has been kind of questioned. It's actually Ronin 42. It's actually a RC-12 Army intelligence bird. It was doing touch and goes in the area right at the time all this was taking shape. And so there's speculation that maybe they were doing something. I will tell you the reason I kind of pushed back on this is because that aircraft, if it's on the ground, it's really not doing much for you. That is one of those, it'll be man in the middle. It's air, it's just basically recon and intelligence, right? And so if there was something going on, they'd be circling around and over that area pretty regularly. Now, the other thing too I did find interesting was that when I tried to get the playback on it, I got an error message when it got right to the window of when the mass event took place. And it wasn't just for that, it was for everything. And so the let me go back to this. I want to show you again. We'll do this one more time. Just so I can walk you through it. But the no call sign you see over there to the left, that's Air Force bird. Lots of training and trainers in the area. This is the Ronin 42. It's a RC-12. It is a intelligence bird. You can see it was running a little route there up near Batesville, and then it landed at the airport right around the same time. I don't think it was I don't think it's connected. Just me personally, just because if that was, it'd be doing circles in the area, doing data grabs or something, right? Then we have the N338AM. This is the other thing. This is air. It's basically medevac. Now there's my error message right there in the top right. Don't know why it would not let me get beyond that. It just kept timing out right at the time of the event. Now that part makes you a little bit curious, but this is Air Methods. This is N338AM. This is a air evac bird that actually came into the region. It didn't, and it was right around the same time as the mass event, and but it didn't make it all the way down. It actually landed north of there, and then from there it went to San Antonio hours later, and then down to Austin. That helo is pretty common in the area. It goes into Fredericksburg. It goes across all over the hill country. So again, those are the things that I was looking at from in the Wayback Machine at the time of the event. And like I said, I didn't see anything that actually caught my eye other than the timeout event at the right where I couldn't get the data beyond that particular timestamp. So that was curious, but the rest of it, I don't know. I think we're just making something out of it. Is it wonky? Did something crazy go on down there with the whole hour sitting outside, everything else? Yes, 1,000,000%. I just don't know that these aircraft are related. That's all. Okay. All right. Let's move on over as we look here. I'll just show you what we've got up right now. This is flight radar. This is Forte 11. This is actually one of our Q4 drones. You can see it's a RQ-4B Global Hawk, one that's been in the area for quite some time. Again, showing you where it comes out of, down off of the toe of Italy, hanging out over the Black Sea. Remember, Constanta is the area that is being, that's the only port really that's working like it's supposed to. And that is why they have this out here, because they are watching for subs or watching for anything on the water that's going to impact this this movement here. Also kind of makes you wonder what is going on in Constanta. We'll get a closer look at it in a minute, but it is stacked up. And why all the fighters, why all of the, the air refuelers and the air support that's going over that particular region? I mean, is it critical? Yes, absolutely. But boy, they are really guarding that spot for some crazy reason. Okay. All right. Let's go over here to Flashbang's schedule just to show you what's going on. Looks like he's got some ceremony with the Coast Guard today. And then I'd like to know who named that one. Operation Fly Formula. I don't know where they come up with these things. Yeah, let's just make a name for an operation and just a hip shot. Some of these are just laughable. I don't know, but anyway, needless to say. All right, so we talk about Operation Fly Formula, and the big event that took place, getting a bunch of baby formula in there because we were all jacked up in the U.S. on it. I just want to show you, this is the kind of stuff you can't make up. So last SITREP, we talked about an overturned fertilizer train that derailed and dumped all the fertilizer out everywhere, and that was basically going to our farmers, and it was derailed. Imagine that. Then we talked about 30,000 pounds of eggs in Dallas that on a semi-truck that basically overturned. What are the odds? And now this. You've got a massive fire break out at a poultry farm. They're saying it's up to a couple 100,000 chickens died in this. So pretty crazy. You can see the video here going on. I'm not going to play it, but anyway, you just can't make this stuff up. Here we are. We have food shortages going everywhere. You got train derailments. You've got processing plants and farms catching on fire. Crazy. All right. Now, this is, we talk about the art of war. I just have to laugh at this because this is actually Flashbang saying that we will not be sending Ukraine long-range rockets that can reach Russia. That's one side of the mouth, and here's the other. Next on Reuters, U.S. to provide long-range rocket system to Ukraine. So, don't know what it's going to be. These are the HIMARS is what they call them, M142s. Just simply amazing. You got one guy saying one thing, another guy saying another. Just like we said early on when he went to the border and talked about our troops going in as peacekeepers, and so I tend to believe the press over Flashbang. I think some of his stuff is just, I don't think he thinks it through. So, all right, now let's get into. We're going to take a gander at the ports and the ships, just to talk a little bit about that. I want to show you the flow that we've got going on right now, northbound in China. Now, Shanghai opened its doors today. June 1. It has been out of commission for a while, but you can see that is basically feeding the China machine, right? All of these flows that are coming northbound, southbound are all headed straight into the domestic product side of China, okay? It doesn't look like they're heading across the drink. You get into Shanghai and the region, you can see it is still pretty stacked up. There is a continuous flow now. I don't know if that is 100% running yet, but we do know they stage these out off the shore there. But this is the south side, just south of Shanghai. You can see again a lot of boats parked. Each one of those contain roughly 2,000 to 3,000 containers that aren't going anywhere else. So, all right, let's bump into LA. I just want to show you that we do have a couple new arrivals. Those are actually coming. These are headed down to Long Beach, but coming from Hong Kong. That's the only ones that I can see coming inbound right now. We had one from Shanghai, and we've had a couple come in from Hong Kong. But you can see they're sitting nowhere near the numbers that we had before. There's probably a dozen or so sitting out there waiting to be unloaded, I assume. And then you got a couple in there on the port itself actually parked being unloaded. Now over here to Sri Lanka, we'll kind of get into what is going on there. Now remember, these guys ran out of fuel, they've run out of food, they're basically going crazy in the streets. All right, so if you look at the port of Colombo, it's the biggest port there. and it's their main port. And you can see it's less down. Remember, 22.4 million people in Sri Lanka, and their port is less active than the one in LA and Long Beach, which is a combined port. So not a good sign. Russia flowing like nobody's business. And you get over here, this is Constanta. Now, take a closer look. Notice the reds are oil, the greens are cargo. They're staged. All of them are staged out here. This is the area we've got all of the air reconnaissance going on around in the region to basically keep it safe, trying to protect something. Definitely with the air refuelers up, they have fighters up in that region. So, well, we'll just continue to watch it, I guess. All right, now let's get over here. I want to show you, as of May 13th, so that was about 3 weeks ago, we still have this ongoing exercise. I guess this is going to be continuing on over the next several weeks, but it is still going on. 18,000 troops, 20 countries. I guess they're going to call this one Defender Europe, Swift Response. We've got Hedgehog. We got a bunch of different names in here of the things going on in the region, but just want to show you that is still taking shape, okay? So if we get into that and we look at the fact that we do have an active NATO exercise going on, this seems to be the region it is in. Remember, we're looking for arrows, not dots. Looks like we got quite a bit at sea, at least in this general area. These are the ports, still kind of chock full of folks, okay? So remember, you've got, here's Belarus, very pro-Russia, and they've got a lot of stuff in the ports here. Latvia is actually one that we believe, as well as Estonia, Lithuania, that could go pro-Russian here in no time. So, okay, so there is that. Again, this is the Q4 running in this general area, running a little air recon. Russia controls this part. This is Crimea up here in Ukraine. And then, of course, all of this is the area we want to watch as well. And then the pinch point right here at Istanbul, which is controlled by Turkey. Okay, Bitdefender, let's get over here just to see what we've got going on. It's a little bit slow today, although it does look like the U.S. is getting the lion's share on our Star Wars map of cyber attacks. And, yep, it's a popping, but not where we think it's going to be when the time gets, when it's go time. So, all right. Over here on the Israeli World News, Iranian enriched uranium stockpile 18 times over the 2015 deal limit. So these boys are making a lot. And I'm telling you, mark my words, Israel is going to take this thing out. They're going to be popping them here pretty soon. I don't see Israel allowing this to continue on. It's too big of a risk for them. So I really do think we're going to see Israel go proactive and take out some of this threat. Okay. All right. Over here, Jerusalem Post. Belarus to conduct military mobilization exercises near Ukraine border. Again, we had confirmation the other day that Belarus is actually sending troops into Ukraine as part of a Russian military activity. Looks to be, this just confirms it, but that's on the north side of Ukraine. And so just a confirmation, like I said, not ramping down, ramping up. All right. Now, this is where it gets interesting. We've been watching Biggs. We've been watching Germany, Ramstein quite a bit. We've been watching the East Coast, right, in terms of military activity. And it's been a little bit flat. Not anymore. We've got a lot of activity, a lot of stuff going on, coming in and out. This is Biggs Army Airfield out in El Paso, Texas. Just to show you, we've got this coming in from Fort Sill. That's Lawton, Oklahoma. That's a camber flight. We've got a 767-300 coming out of Houston, which is Atlas Air, and those arrived there at Biggs. And then we've got them leaving, and they're headed to this one, Guantanamo Bay. That is a troop rotation coming in on a camber flight. Now I'm going to show you Guantanamo Bay in a minute on the board, and you'll see not there. All right, and then this one here, this is National Cargo rolling in and out of Charleston. That's an it's an Airbus A330-200. Probably cargo on that one. It could be troops. You just never know with these things. And then this one here headed up to Portsmouth. That is an Atlas Air 767-300. More than likely, that is going to be troops because Atlas Air does do a lot of troop movement. Okay. All right, that's Biggs. Now over here to Guantanamo Bay, I just show you. We were just looking at this camber flight right here, and I will show you. It is, you can see it makes that turn, and then it goes off on the transponder. That's very common, right? As soon as they make that little hook, it disappears. But gives us confirmation they landed. All right, and you can see from there it went up to Washington Dulles. So you can track it all the way through. Notice just last week it was in Ramstein. But get over here to the board on Guantanamo Bay, and it is not there. So, yeah, they do actively wipe these things. You get into the arrivals, you'll see there is no camber flight on here at all. You'll get the Phoenix birds coming in, and they just wipe them. I don't know why they do it, other than they don't want us knowing that they have been there, okay? All right, now over here to Ramstein, talk about busy. This place is just getting it. This is some arrivals coming in. This one, I don't know why it says Ramstein to Ramstein. It probably went to a destination and came back, and so therefore it completed its flight leg. That's Air Transport International, 757-200. And then here's our camber flight headed to Turkey. Again, remember, we've been watching Turkey. We're going to look at it again here in just a minute, just to show you. And then another camber flight here headed down near Egypt, last seen near Cairo. Then we've got several here. If you just, I mean, it's busy. It's busier than I've seen it in quite some time. Again, here's that one leaving back to Turkey. And then this one here headed down to Doha. And then these are the ones that are coming inbound from the U.S. You got a FedEx flight coming in from Dover. That's probably going to be supplies. And then this Atlas bird coming in from Baltimore, that's probably troops. And then that one looks to be headed back to home base operations, Memphis, Tennessee. That's a FedEx bird, MD-11. All right, over here to Transportation Command. This is our camber flights. You can see you got one coming out of Washington Dulles, destination unknown, and then this one coming out of Cairo. We just looked at that coming out of Ramstein. Probably going back to Ramstein if I had to guess, but it looks like we delivered some troops or something down to Cairo, which is, now let's talk about that for 1 second. Remember, we've got troops going in right here in Turkey, which is right, this is Syria right here. So you got them in Turkey, and now you've got them in Egypt. And so that puts us on both sides of Israel. I don't know if I'd be concerned or not. But this is going to be your Turkey base, just to kind of show you what's going on. Now, that looks to be a US C-130 that came in. This is the camber flight. Came in from Ramstein, went back to Ramstein. So definitely putting some troops in and boots on the ground in Turkey. Again, this is the air base right here. This borderline you see is Syria. Okay, very close to Syria. All right, over here to the Royal Air Force, you can see they have been pretty busy today. Not like we've seen in the past. I only see 4 flights up right now, but again, same kind of areas. You can see this one. Let's just see where we've got them headed. Charleston. That one's headed across the drink into the U.S., and then these others don't really show. We got one going Charleston to Long Beach, so that's an A400. That's this flight right here. That is actually one of your high wing turboprops, all right, the A400. It's very similar to, it's kind of like a hybrid of a C-130 and a C-141 aircraft, okay? And so that looks like that is U.S. bound, and then these are Europe and Middle East, okay? And over to Omni Air, just show you what's been going on. Now, we had one drop off a minute ago that went from Laredo to Port-au-Prince, Haiti. That was a immigrant-related deportation flight, more than likely. And then we've got these here that this one's in Pristina to Washington Dulles, Shannon, Ireland to Baltimore, Washington, and then this one coming out of Guam, Anderson Air Force Base, just about to land right now up at Fort Worth Alliance. Troops, more than likely everything you see on the screen right now is troop related. The one immigrant flight one has dropped off. It's already landed. So, okay. Now to the Ruskies, just to show you what's going on. Don't see anything actually flying up right now. We do have this one on the board down below, that RSD-8 that is showing coming out of Riyadh. We're going to take a closer look at those. We were tracking these the other day on Monday, and I wanted to find out where the Russians were headed because don't see them really headed into Saudi or Africa very often, except for Northern Africa. So this one actually landed the other day in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. It is now punching out. You can see it took off out of there, and then, of course, we lost track of it. Probably headed back to Moscow, but it doesn't show a completion on the flight yet. It just shows en route. And then over here to this one, this is actually the other one we were looking at when it was headed down into well, at the time it was in Central Africa. Now it looks to be headed down pretty far south. This is actually, you can see Mozambique, and then it looked like it went to Zimbabwe from there, here locally. So that's the Russians. Don't know what they're doing in South Africa, but again, just a data point. We keep our eye on them, keeps them honest, right? All right, and then this is going to be your Swift air flights. I just want to show what we have. A lot of U.S. domestic flights going on right now. Coming out of the borders originally, you could see a couple here headed down into like Bogota, Colombia. This one into Central America. But then you have the others coming out of Miami, headed up into like Harrisburg or places that are just don't make any sense. Could that be the Amazon machine? Maybe. Could it be National Hockey League? Maybe. Don't really know. So we just we'll continue to eye it and monitor it and see what happens. So, all right, over here to our TFRs. I meant to cover this at the beginning just to show you what we've got happening active-wise. Looks like Flashbang is headed home this weekend, so that is already on the map. And this was an air show. Let me see if it's still an air show. Let me just double check it. Yeah, air show. So, and these are air shows within the box right there too, I think, as is this. Looks like we had a little earthquake out here. What was that? 4.5 mag. Again, I'm not the earthquake guy. Dutch Sense is. And by the way, he is back on YouTube, so you can actually go over there and follow him and subscribe to his channel, and I'm sure he would appreciate that. So, all right, not seeing really anything. We still have this one up here for the volcano, and we've got these active. This is a security one up in Alaska, and then this one is a hazards. I think that's fire related, and this one here also over a volcano. So, all right, that's going to be our TFRs, and I think we have basically buzzed around the world here. Again, big uptick going on right now over in Europe relative to troop movement. We looked at the air traffic in terms of air refuelers and heavy movers, but what we didn't really see in detail were the camber flights and the troop movement stuff, which we did show you through the FlightAware app. And so it looks like there is an uptick in terms of troop movement into Europe as well as over into Asia. And so we'll just continue to watch these. You know, I'm not seeing any indication this stuff is actually slowing down or stepping down. It just looks like we just continue to ramp up and feed the machine. And so just a matter of time before it pops and goes hot. So, all right, listen, that's going to be it for today. You guys keep that powder dry and stay frosty. I'll see you on Friday in our live show. That's it. God bless. Monkey out. Check out the latest gear and products at monkeyworksus.com.